Welcome back to Sharks Happen. My name is Hal. I'm your host, going over shark attacks from the 1900s till present, basically going through stacks of attacks to get the facts for my stats. We go over large sharks, mainly large sharks, and we keep stats on them, and we're going to get started right away. We're going to head over to Oahu, Hawaii. The date is February 17th, 1990, right off of a Marine Air Force base there, about 300 yards offshore at 9:30 at night. Jake Hernandez and his dive buddy Roy Tanaka are out, and they're diving, they're spearfishing parrotfish at 9:30 at night, right off the firing range at the Marine Corps base, and Roy disappears. Jake does a real quick search for him, cannot find him, so the next day they launch a search for him, and at 1500 hours, so 3 in the afternoon, they end up finding him from a helicopter. They find his body, missing an arm. They find it laying in a patch of water, but they see two sharks by it at the time. One of them 14 foot and one of them's 8 foot, and the 14-footer eats all but the torso and the legs of the shark before they can get there and retrieve it. They must have watched that from the helicopter. They obviously retrieved the rest of his body. They did find all of his scattered, his tank, his mask, and his dive belt was all scattered about 300 yards from where he had disappeared. It was rough water that day. There was some bad seas. A 22-foot boat ended up going down in the water because a wave hit it. So they don't know if a shark did this or if it was a drowning, but I'm going to put it down as a shark. I mean, he's down there diving. He's not on top of the water. So I'm going to put that down as a shark, an attack, no attempt to predate. Okay, now we're going to head over off the coast of the Bahamas, near Spanish Wells. The date is June 25th, 1968. Roy Pinder and a dive buddy, they're doing some spearfishing, and they're set up in a normal area. They're trying to spearfish some fish, and they say a fish shark, so a Carribean reef shark, shows up, 5 to 6 footer. And they said it's acting erratic, so it chased them out of the area. They left the area. They went about 300 yards away and continued fishing. Roy's buddy stabbed a grouper, and he headed up to the top. Roy found a large grouper, and he was able to spear it, and now he's taking his grouper up to the top when he feels a bump on his shoulder, and the shark clamps on his head. It clamps on his face and his head. And his dive partner's already up at the top, and he's watching us from the top of the water. He's got the fish on the spear, and he's looking down, sees that the shark is not letting go. Pinder is trying to get the shark's jaws open with his hands. He can't do it. It took his buddy to come down and shoot that shark. He stabbed the shark, kind of jabbed it in the head with the spear, and that forced it to release. So it finally released Pinder, but his buddy had to guard him all the way back to the boat as he was bleeding pretty bad from his teeth. That small teeth, but he had, indentions and blood coming from everywhere around his head and his face. So he made a blood trail back to the boat with his buddy defending him. Well, now when he gets back to the boat, that shark turns on his buddy and starts trying to get him. And his buddy ends up having to shoot the shark. He says he shot it in the mouth, so shot it in the mouth with the spear. He said that spear went in about 4 feet into that shark, sticking out a little bit. So that got the shark to leave him alone enough so that he could get up and get to the boat, and they got Roy in and got him taken care of. I'm going to put that down as an attack and an attempt to predate. Whether you can or not, biting somebody in the head, that shark kind of wanted to eat that guy. So we're going to put that down as an attack and an attempt to predate on Roy Pinder. Okay, now we're going to head over off the coast of California by Newport Beach. The date is May 29th, 2016. Maria Korcmaros is 52 years old, and she is out swimming. She's doing some training for an upcoming Ironman competition. So she's out and she's doing a 2-mile swim. She's about halfway through this swim. About 150 yards from shore, 30-foot deep water. Visibility is 1 to 2 feet. You really can't see in the water at all. And it's about 4 in the afternoon, and she is bit. Lifeguards see her struggling, and one of the lifeguards saw the last ending of the thing, saw the fish there. It was a real quick bite though, so they just saw enough of it to know that a fish had ended up biting her, because boats aren't supposed to be in the area, but they were in the area, but none of them were by her. There were no other surfers or swimmers in the water, even though people were on the beach. When the lifeguards got out to her in the water, they saw that she had definitely been bitten, and they got her in and got her taken care of. Her damage from just one quick hit was kind of brutal. She suffered fractured ribs, lesions in her lungs, tissue damage in her abdomen and in her arm, and then she had a crescent-shaped wound going from her shoulder all the way down to her pelvis. The funny thing is they don't say what kind of shark this is, even though the witnesses say you could see the individual teeth marks in this arc on her body. So how you can't find out what kind of shark that is beyond me. Somebody has to know. I'm saying great white, you know, probably 12-foot great white, somewhere around there. It came up, did a real hard bite, thinking that it was, you know, one of its actual prey, not a test bite. This thing was going out to nail her. Luckily, it got her in the shoulder, and where there's a lot of bones, and it, you know, decided it didn't want to go through with it after it hit her. But it hit her hard. Reminds me of the way that Rodney Orr was bitten. A test bite, but a very violent one, and I believe the conditions were pretty bad in visibility there too. So we're going to put this down as an attack, no attempt to predate. And now we're going to head over to Little Bay, which is in Little London, Jamaica. The date is May 1st, 2021. Donovan Haywood, he and 11 others have gone out on an 18-foot boat, and they're going out doing spearfishing. He's in the water, and they say a large shark attacked him. I cannot find what kind of shark attacked him, but a large shark attacked him. And 11 people saw this, because he was with 11 others. Well, some of these 11, because the shark had Donovan in his mouth for a half hour. He bit his arm, bit his left arm. The hand was gone. The left arm, I've never seen anything like this. The left arm was denuded bone all the way down. There was no meat. I mean, little chunks of meat kind of hanging on, but the whole arm is bone, hand gone. They said that he had suffered bites to his upper torso, but I can't find those. Unless he was bitten in the back, I can't see it, because they put him in a pickup truck afterwards, and they took him to the hospital in there. But somebody had a camera phone, and they actually filmed this. I'm going to put a link down in the description. That'll get you to be able to take a look at this video. I can't see anything other than they're putting him in the bed, and you can see that his arm is completely gone of meat and the hand is missing. I can't see any other bites to his upper body when you can see his upper body cleanly. Unless they're to his back, I don't know where this other upper body stuff is going. But he was pronounced dead when he got to the hospital. Half hour being in the shark's mouth, being tugged around, I would think that he was probably gone when they put him in the truck. But I don't know, I wasn't there. But I'm putting a link to this down in the description. If that link does not work, then you're going to have to Google his name and go to a site that's, in the top 10 sites going down. It should be on the first page. One of them's called Live Gore, the other one's called Shock Gore, I think. And they'll have the camera phone video of them taking him, putting him in the truck, and then taking him away. So there's not much you can see though. And if you can end up seeing something about, other upper body bites, let me know in the comments, because I haven't been able to see that. So that's our story of Donovan Haywood. We're going to put that down as an attack and an attempt to predate. And we're going to finish off our unprovoked attacks for the show over off the coast of Western Australia in Kelp Beds Beach. The date is October 9th, 2020. Andrew Sharpe, he is 52 years old, and he's out doing some surfing, and he and other surfers, there's other surfers in the water, other surfers further out than him. But he's the one who gets attacked. One of the witnesses said that they saw the shark behind his surfboard, so I don't know if he was just paddling or if he was actually just laying there. But the shark came up behind his surfboard and disappeared underneath. Went ahead and submerged. It popped up, sent him flying in the air. Witnesses said that they saw his leg being bit. So popped off of his surfboard, leg bit, and then he was dragged under the water. other surfers that were around, they paddled over to give him some assistance. But when they got there, the authorities said that whatever accounts they gave to the authorities made the authorities think that there was no way they were going to find this guy. Not alive anyway. So it turned from a rescue to a recovery operation with what they were said. I've looked to find what anybody had said about this. Can't find a thing. So I guess the authorities are the only one that are allowed to know what happened in this attack, because that's where that ended. And he's obviously taken away. They found 2 pieces of his wetsuit the next day. His board washed up shore had the bite marks on it, the marks from being hit from underneath, and teeth marks. So definitely an attack, and he disappeared. They didn't find anything but those 2 pieces of wetsuit. So whatever those witnesses ended up seeing, they kind of are holding the information on the attack to themselves, and the authorities are doing the same. So we're going to put that down as an attack and a predation. It would have been nice to know exactly what ended up happening there. Real similar to the attack in our last episode, where knocked him off the board, came back and grabbed him, and could be the same type of situation. You know, the shark was out to eat him, definitely. So we're putting it out, predate, and definitely wanted to eat him. Okay, we're going to finish off our show with a story that could have been in the movie Jaws. This is in Marin, California, about 1955. Deputy Christensen, when he was being interviewed of a later attack, had recalled when he went out and he had retrieved the body of a drowning victim, Claude Janney. He was 35. He went out and got his body. It was submerged in the water, probably for some time, probably very bloated, and he was towing the body back with his rowboat. So he had obviously tied the body off to the rowboat, and he's rowing his way in. On the way, he sees a shark fin pop up above the water, 14 inches, and seconds later, the boat comes to a complete halt. That shark is attacking that body. So a large shark's attacking the body, stopped his boat. As soon as that got done, he resumed rowing his way in. Another shark popped up to the top of the water, but it did not attack the body. But that's a creepy story. You're towing something, you're towing a body in, and all of a sudden you see a shark fin, and then your boat stops on you. 14 inches high, that's a pretty big shark, I would think. And he's lucky that thing didn't start just dragging him around or do something with that body that might have capsized his boat. So that's the end of our story. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you join us in a couple more days. But remember, if you go in that water, you are much more afraid of those sharks than they are of you.